Hi there, Anthony Falco, International Pizza Consultant. Today in this video, we are going to be using the Breville Smart Oven to make pizza. Now, there's no point in using this oven to make pizza unless you're going to have the best possible dough recipe, and we're going to give you that today. We're going to be doing an all naturally leavened pizza dough recipe. All right, this video is not dough 101. We're not using any commercial yeast whatsoever. You already have to have a sourdough starter and know somewhat how to use it. All right, this is the original way to make bread, the way it was done for 6,000 years. It's the best dough. This is the recipe for the best possible pizza dough ever. But right now, we're gonna dive into how we make our all naturally leavened dough. All right, we're gonna get started here with our ingredients. We have flour, water, yeast in the form of our starter, oil, optional, but highly recommended. Main reason we use oil at Rad Times Pizza is because this is supposed to be rad pizza. And what does that mean, rad pizza? Well, rad pizza is American pizza, because America is rad. And salt, this is sea salt. Both of these are gonna get mixed together. These are our two flours that we're using for our recipe. If you want to blend in all kinds of other flours, you can. Spelt, whole wheat, some hippie shit like that. It's up to you. You follow your rainbow. I don't know. This is just a good starting point, all right? All right, what we're gonna do first is gonna add our two flours together. Both of these equal 500 grams. So our water. Next is 310 grams, so that's 62% of the flour. So that's our hydration rate, 62%. Now this is New York City tap water, right? Miraculously amazing New York City tap water you need to make pizza. Bullshit, kind of. A lot of bullshit. It's fantastic tap water, but it's not gonna magically make your pizza amazing. And I can prove this scientifically because there's shitty pizza everywhere in New York City. You can't just put New York City tap water on it and it's gonna be great, all right? So our flours are both in here, and what we're gonna do first is we're gonna throw our salt right in there. So I'm mixing it together. Salt is gonna go all in here. Our two flours are getting combined. Boom, just like that. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add all the other wet ingredients to our water. I didn't know you like to get wet. Let's get wet. All right, so water. New York City tap water, the best, the secret. All right, we're gonna throw our starter just right in there. So now we're gonna dump the oil in there. And now we're gonna throw the wets in with the dries. So I'm just gonna start moving in a counterclockwise circle here with just the tips of my fingers. Always counterclockwise in North America. South America, you wanna do clockwise, all right? It's very important. All right, look, oh my God, it's happened. Just like that, I wasn't even paying attention. And it's all set up and we're gonna let it rest. If you've ever made pizza at home, and again, this is not dough 101, so hopefully you have, and it's snapped back on you, that's an overmixed dough. It's also a really good rule of thumb, anytime you work the dough, to let it rest before you work it again. You can see it's really started to smooth out. After about 5 minutes of that, we're gonna let it rest again for about an hour. We're gonna uncover this and we're gonna do ball and divide. All right, 5 dough balls at 180 grams. Now we're gonna ball them. There you go. 5 little dough babies. One of the keys with all naturally leavened is that you don't just throw these directly in the fridge because they will just come to a stop and you will not really get them rolling again. You want to kind of have that fermentation rolling, and that's not going to happen at a very low temperature. So 60 degrees is going to be great. Now I've got some to show you through the magic of television. Oh. These are the doughs that have rested at like about 12 hours at 60 something degrees. Right, so you start room temperature, then you find a colder spot, and then when you really like where it's at, you can put it in a fridge and it'll really hold there. And this is a large batch. These are 4 days old. You can see they've grown more in size. All of these are 180 grams. Should we make pizza? Who wants pizza? Are we ready to eat pizza? All right, it's time to make some pizza. It's so exciting. We've got our doughs have been proofed. They look perfect. They look really nice, actually. They look great. We've got all our ingredients out here. Mise en place, very important to have all your shit ready. That's what that means in French, have your shit together. And we're gonna make the number one.
The number one. Tomato sauce, mozzarella, basil, parmesan.
Aged low moisture mozzarella, for some fresh mozzarella that we made ourselves, whatever, no big deal. So I've got some basil here, fresh basil, and then the splotchy sauce, right? So this technique, you essentially take your 1 ounce ladle of sauce, kind of shake it around, little drops, splotches on top of the cheese. And then we've got Parmigiano Reggiano. All right, we're picking up the pizza. And now you can do last minute little reshape. Circles are nice. And we're ready to go in the oven. Here's a pro tip for this oven we figured out after making pizza like a bunch. We've got it on manual mode here, and it's just as high as it'll go. It's all the way up on the bottom and all the way up on the top. You want to have it on even heat in between making the pizzas. When it's time, right before you put the pizza in the oven, you want to switch it to crust only. That's going to move all the power to the outside ring. The thing gets up to 750 degrees. It's kind of crazy that they are selling these to the general public. I'm not going to lie to you. They say that you can just put it in and then pull it out after 2 minutes, but I like to give it a little spin. Ooh, pizza. So we're just gonna finish this. A little bit more Parmigiano Reggiano and some more olive oil. There you go. 2 minute bake, all naturally leavened, rad times pizza. It's about as good as I can do. All right, so we've been making naturally leavened pizza for about a year now. I mean, that's pretty cool, I think. But, you know, I'm very happy to have someone who's been doing it for a very long time, the best known naturally leavened pizza maker in the United States, Anthony Mangieri from Una Pizza Napoletana. Thanks for coming, man. Really appreciate it. Have you had our pizza before?
No.
This is the first time?
It's the first time.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you want to eat some pizza?
Yeah.
All right, let's check it out. Crispy.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. It's crispy but chewy,
Yeah.
which reminds me of like, you know, the old school places in New York City when I was a kid that like had that kind of like, you know, they were thin, they weren't hard,
Yeah.
but they were chewy and had a crisp like in the beginning when you started eating them, and then as they sat, they would get like more chewy.
Yeah.
Which I always love because I love that experience like throughout eating the pizza. Like in the beginning, it's like, you know, crispy, and then the last slice is kind of more bready and chewy.
Yeah.
And you can taste that there's natural leavening in it. I mean, it has I wouldn't say a sour taste, but there's definitely more going on in the crust than like your average place.
I'm pushing naturally leavened.
Right.
I'm a big believer in it. I think it just, first and foremost, makes things taste better.
Yeah, I agree.
How did you get into it? And I mean, you do Neapolitan pizza in Naples. There's not a lot of people doing naturally leavened.
So my initial like education on baking was all bread based. So I came at pizza making more as like a bread baker. So just in reading and stuff when I was young, it seemed like everything I read, like you would always hear like mention of like this idea of naturally leavened without yeast, and it seemed very mysterious. They'd always write like how hard it is to control, what a gamble it is, what a risk, and I was young and it sounded like something that spoke to me, like, you know, very simple but very risky, and like, yeah, so when I opened the first place in 96, that's how I opened without using yeast.
Yeah. Would you recommend for someone who doesn't have a starter to build their own?
I think it's pretty easy to start your own if you don't want to do like the mail order ones or buy one through like a distributor. For me, like starting it, I usually use like a plastic tub with a lid, and I just use really good organic flour, some whole wheat or like whatever, something that's going to have a lot of natural sugar still in it, like stone ground.
Farmer ground in New York is that's a good,
Yeah,
good flour to start with.
yeah. And just start it with water, and like if you want to make it go faster, you can add some sweetener to it. You could add like a little bit of honey.
Okay.
I mean, once you mix the first batch and it sits for a few days and you start to see it bubbling a little bit, and then let's say you throw half of it out and add more flour and water, that's going to take maybe another 2 days, throw that out, half.
Yeah.
By the time you get it going, like a week later or a week and a half later, that little bit of yeast that you used to spark it is long gone. You have a natural product.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Cool. Well, dude, thanks so much for coming and
Thank you, man.
eating the
Thank
Rad
you.
Times pizza.
Thanks, it's awesome.
Yeah, and wearing the Rad Times gear. I really appreciate
awesome.
it. Yeah, it's an honor.
Pizza, you're round and you're hot, and I love you and you love pizza, right? So many of us love pizza. And now you know how it goes. The dough has to